Howdy y'all. What is up? We are Morbid Curiosities bringing you another episode. I'm Nicholas Ewers, and with me is the lightweight champion of the world, the morbid mistress of mayhem herself.
Mercedes Martinez. And you know the funny thing? I actually was gonna come on here saying howdily do or some Ned Flanders shit. So that's actually pretty cool that you started us off like that. We're getting the similar mindset going.
Did you catch me laugh before I started the take?
Actually, no, I just caught
Okay.
you laughing or smiling while you were speaking. So
I was like, right after I went on this whole spiel about today's going to be a deadly serious episode, no jokes allowed. I'm just like, howdy. I like the howdy doody.
yes, this is what Nick does. He says we're gonna be dead serious, and then he goes back on his word. It's just where how am I supposed to trust you, man?
Yeah, the episode begins with a just that level of humor.
I love
Wooga
it.
wooga. I can't do a wooga sound. Can you do a wooga?
Wooga? Wooga
Yeah.
wooga.
Wooga like that. Kind of
Oh,
like that. Yeah.
no, no. I'll do wooga. Okay, I quit.
Good. I like the effort. You at
That was my
least
best effort.
baby steps. We're getting you there.
I'll get there
Eventually
one day.
Eventually, you'll be doing Australian and British accents all over the place. By the way, shout out to our Australian listeners. We know you're out there. We know you're listening. Um,
Woo!
we discovered that today. And since you're here joining us, we hope you saw the title of the episode. We hope that you're excited for us to talk about All Hallows Eve, Damien Leone's directorial debut. Um, Going ahead, there's going to be spoilers for this movie. I'm pretty excited to talk about it. I should mention, I forgot to say it off top. This is the start of our new season, officially our second season of the show, where we're going to be covering all of the Terrifier movies. So before we get into All Hallows Eve, um, I actually want to know, what is your relationship like with this franchise as a whole, if you don't mind me kind of going into that before we dive into the movie.
So I never watched any of the Terrifier films. I saw a clip of this one, All Hallows Eve, at one point, just the train station scene, and I was just thinking it's another clown film. I really don't feel like watching that. And then the more films that came out, all I kept hearing was how gruesome it was, how gory it was, how twisted Art the Clown is, and I was just thinking, "Yep, I'm not watching that." So I left it alone. But everyone kept talking about Terrifier 3. You guys covered it on These Guys Got Juice. One of my buddies was saying how great it was, and I really need to watch that one and the second one. So, of course, that was when my husband's like, "Oh yeah, we can watch this movie." So, I just look at him thinking, out of all movies that you could watch from the horror genre, you picked the one that I don't want to watch. But we didn't watch this one. We started with Terrifier, and we kind of got hooked after the second one. So, I watched everything backwards pretty much.
Nice, nice. Now, in regard to your husband actually gravitating towards this, there is an appeal about these Terrifier movies that is like widespread. It's a phenomenon. When I saw Terrifier 3, which that's the only one I've seen, so all of these I'm going in completely blind, completely fresh. It's pretty exciting. But um there were a bunch of kids in our Terrifier 3 screening that we were at, and I'm talking like little kids, maybe like second grade or third grade. It was pretty wild. It felt kind of inappropriate, but honestly, I think I was way more terrified than they were. It, it was, but I won't spoil a whole lot of Terrifier 3. I had a lot of fun with that, and I'm so excited to get into these. But yeah, doesn't surprise me that your husband, even though maybe not so into horror, like saw something in Terrifier and was like, I really want to watch these. I mean, Art the Clown is all over TikTok. I think I'm not like too tapped into TikTok, but from what I've heard, he's all over there. I think that's why like kids have an attachment to Art the Clown. It makes sense to me.
He has some interesting tastes when he does decide to pick a horror film, but I mean, I actually ended up enjoying the second and third Terrifier movies. So, but another time, another conversation for another time. I know how much you love when I jump the gun and start talking about the later movies in the franchise. So let me just shut up.
Well, let's not spoil anything for the listeners. This might be, their first time watching any of these, which sorry, kind of that if you watched it because of us, it's not required viewing necessarily, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like right now, I have a lot of respect for Damien Leone. I think that's how you say his name. Is it Leone or Leone? Do you know?
I feel like it's Leone. There's was maybe one person I heard who said Leone, but I hear multiple people saying Leone or Leone.
Okay, I think it's Leone. I just watched a couple interviews with him today too, and they said his name, and I want to say it's Leone. I gotta like pay attention to stuff like that. But I have a great respect for the guy and everything he does. But going into this movie, I didn't know that it's basically watching it when we get to the first segment. I was like, oh, we're watching like a series of student films basically, or like someone finding their footing in filmmaking, kind of figuring out what narrative is and maybe not fully getting it. Like this movie, these segments have a lot of fat on it. We're with these characters in basically like almost real time. I'm sure if he made these short films today, they would be done very different. I do want to say the Terrifier segment is like my favorite one. That is a legitimately good piece of horror. I'll get into my thoughts on the other ones a bit more as we get into the episode, but I have a lot of respect for what this is. It Damien Leone basically had the Ninth Circle, Art the Clown short film. That's the first segment, and he had Terrifier, the third segment in the film, and put them on YouTube. Got funding from a producer to make an anthology film called All Hallows Eve, and basically made the second segment, which is an alien segment, and this framing device, which is these kids find Damien Leone's student film reel in their bag of Halloween candy and end up watching it. So I find it all very interesting, and I'm excited to get more into it with you as we talk about it. But so, what are your initial thoughts on All Hallows Eve? What did you think about it going into it, and what were you expecting?
I didn't know what to expect. I well, that's a lie. I would say that I was just expecting something pretty crazy just because people didn't really talk about this film, that they liked this film. So I had a feeling I wasn't gonna like it either. Um, but then, well, can I start jumping into the scene now?
Yeah, you can full spoilers ahead for this movie, even though not a lot to spoil. You can probably listen to this episode without watching the movie, actually. And again, no offense to Damien Leone or anybody, but this isn't really required viewing. I feel like you can just hop right into Terrifier.
Cool, cool. So,
Yeah, we're doing the work for you guys. We watched it so you don't have to.
exactly, but hopefully you do. It's a fun ride.
Hmm.
But yeah, so just the opening where these kids, they went trick or treating, they're home, they're eating their candy, they're watching scary movies, and they find the cassette just before they even put the videotape in. It was cool just because it brought me back to that homey feeling where I went trick or treating and then I went home and I was tired as hell, but just going through all my candy, seeing how much I can eat at that moment. It was very nostalgic.
Wait, but dude, you had better candy selections than those kids, I'm sure.
Well, of course I did.
Yeah,
I didn't even pay attention to their candy because I knew it was going to be garbage.
they had public domain candy. They're like, "Okay, nothing with logos that we can get sued for having."
Right.
I found it funny.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it was cool. Even the way the aesthetic of the home looks, everything you could just tell was from years ago, not like the modernized film now. And I swear I heard this before and I don't remember where from. Maybe someone in the audience can help us out with that. Damien Leone never wants to make a modern looking film. He always wants to have like that grainy type of style to it. Um, have you heard that or have any information on that?
I haven't heard that directly from him, but he does seem to really like I would say, like, I don't know if you could call it a grindhouse style. That's what I've heard it referred to as. It looks like old film, basically, old worn out film, and I really dig the look. I don't think these are actually shot on film. I would be kind of surprised if a movie of like these low of a budget wasn't done digitally, but I haven't heard that directly from Damien Leone himself that he won't do something that looks modern.
Well, I can't remember if it was from him himself or if someone did like an interview and he had mentioned something of the sort. So I was just curious on that.
It wouldn't surprise me. He definitely has a vibe, and it the grindhouse look, the old film reel look, doesn't carry over throughout all of this movie. It seems to maybe just come in certain segments and like certain parts of certain segments. But he really fully adopts that look by at least Terrifier 3, because that's the only one I've seen since then. And it's a good look, man. I love it for these movies.
Yeah, same here. So when the kids find the tape, their babysitter, she wants to just, check to see what's on it first before letting them watch it. One, what the fuck was with this badass little shit Timmy? He kept talking back to this bitch, and I'm
Mhm.
sorry, he was just so fucking disrespectful.
Yeah, and he was dressed like a dude from, like, Attack Attack or something. I was just like, what is that his Halloween costume?"
Probably. He looks like a fucking wiener. I was so mad about that.
Yeah, he was definitely a punk, though.
Yeah, he needed to get slapped.
What did you think of the babysitter? She's pretty old to be a babysitter.
That's what I was saying. I was thinking, is this an aunt of theirs? Because she does not look like a teenager. And I know it's a thing to get adults to portray teenage characters in films, and sometimes they can pull that off. Not this one. No offense to her, she's very beautiful, but still.
So that w- makes me ask you the question. So you have nieces and nephews that you watch horror movies with, or have watched horror movies with?
Only nephews.
Nephews. So let's say they're about the age of these kids and they go trick or treating, and same situation plays out. Find a VHS of Damon Leone's, student films. No, but let's say you find a unmarked VHS. Do you put it in front of them? It's probably porn, right?
That's what my initial thought was. I was thinking, why the fuck would she put it on while they were there? Because they didn't go into another room. You could see they just walked a few spaces around her. But clearly, that's, I mean, that wasn't what she found, but that's what I thought was going to be on the tape. And it's just, how do you not know that's not what's on there? And whatever. She dodged a bullet there, I guess.
Uh, and my first thought watching this was, it's so weird that this thing isn't found footage. And then that's when I was like, the framing device had to have been an afterthought. Like this, it was like, this had to have been just a series of horror shorts before I did like any research, because I expected it to be like, oh, we're going to watch like Art the Clown like snuff footage or something. It's gonna be
Right.
like VHS, similar to those movies. It really wasn't, but I still appreciated it for what it was. It doesn't fully function within the form because what is the logic, would you say? They are watching a movie. They aren't watching like actual snuff footage.
Yeah, they're watching a film, and I like the fact that throughout each story they do go back to, real time showing the kids or the or the babysitter and how disturbed they looked or how fascinated and intrigued dumbass Timmy looks. So because I kept forgetting that, thinking, oh, we're just watching whatever's going on with these people, but then remembering, oh yeah, they are actually watching a series of short films right now. So I like that little spin on it. I definitely see where what you're saying, like the framing device of it is what kind of sealed it all in.
So would you say you like this movie?
I like the creepy intro where it's a babysitter watching a fucked up film with these two kids, and then her dumbass watches it without them by herself. Just that uneasy feeling. And the last section of this film.
This movie's like 50% there. This movie is 50% there. I don't know if you would agree with me. I rated this about 2 stars on Letterboxd. I don't know if this movie should have a rating though. It is just pretty much a student film at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can't even rate this film because there were some details, like I just mentioned, that I like, and then some that was just what the fuck. So to me, it's kind of like a project that's pass or fail. And I'd say it's a pass at least, but I can't give it a full on rating.
I agree with you. I'd say it's a pass. That's a good way to put it. Pass or fail. This was really a way for Damien to get we're on a first name basis now, me and Damien. It's just because I keep
It's
fucking up his last name. Uh
all good.
Damien was trying to get I want to say like a bigger budget to make more, put his work out there just to create more opportunities for himself as a filmmaker or a special effects artist. And again, I have, as someone who aspires to be a filmmaker or work in the film industry in some capacity, I'm really nowhere near that. I'm just talking about movies at some point, or at this point, which I really do enjoy. But I have dreams like that. Maybe I won't succeed, maybe I won't get there, but I dream, and he he had the same dream and he was doing it, and I really respect this work. It's pretty cool. I don't dislike this thing. I would spend money and own it in a box set. I hope this thing does like live on um outside of the streaming era in this Terrifier series. I hope it doesn't get completely overlooked because it is like a nice little stamp in time of like here's the creation of Art the Clown, here's the establishment of Damien Leone as a filmmaker. It's awesome.
Moral of the story, guys, follow your dreams. We've been morbid curiosities.
That did feel like a wrap up.
It really did.
Yeah.
um But I mean, no, he really put in the work. He was trying to get, I think, even crowdfunding too.
Yeah.
Just yeah, I think it was, oh, if you spent this much, you could be an extra in the film. And then just like boosting up the money mark higher. So I mean, he did succeed because making this, he didn't plan on having Art the Clown be the focal point, but everyone latched on to him, and he's been able to make a few extra movies and always amp up the brutality in each one. So he's doing his thing. He's succeeding. Follow your dreams, people.
Oh, he's succeeding like fucking crazy. We'll get into Terrifier 3 and how much that dominated. I think it made more than 100 times its budget, but that movie, I want to say, cost maybe less than 1 million. I'll do the research before the Terrifier 3 episode, guys. But it outgrossed Joker Folie à Deux. It made tens of millions, like dozens of millions of dollars. It's pretty crazy what this guy's been able to accomplish. This guy, and I assume he has a team that he works with on all of these movies. Damien Leone and his team. I'll try to look up those guys a little bit more down the line and shout them out or pay attention to the credits. But and then Art the Clown. This isn't the guy who ends up going on to play Art the Clown. I don't think he is, right?
No, this guy is Mike Gianelli, and following that is David Howard Thornton.
David Howard Thornton. That guy. He's gonna be making a living off of Comic Cons the rest of his life, no matter what he decides to do. He will always have Art the Clown appearances to fall back on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
will save all my stuff for the next film. Because you can definitely see the differences between their behavior in this one and in the Terrifier films. So I'm excited for you to watch it.
I'm very excited to dive into Terrifier. I was thinking about it before we started recording. I was like, damn, I'm probably going to watch Terrifier tonight when we get done. I think I'm going to go straight into it. I'm really fucking excited for this more than I think I will be about. I'm going to be excited about most of the series that we're covering and most of these seasons we're going to be creating for ourselves. But this is something I was really excited to do. We were planning on maybe doing something else instead of this. I forgot what it was, but uh this was my pick, and I had pivoted. I was like, I really want to do these Terrifiers, man. And you were like, let's do them. And so, yeah, we're here.
Yeah, I'm already on the fucking bandwagon with this guy with the Terrifier world. So I was hyped. It didn't take a lot of convincing on your part to get me on board with switching.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a wild ride. I'm really excited. I feel like Terrifier is going to be a step up from All Hallows Eve. I do want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Art the Clown in All Hallows Eve?
I'm torn because he has some parts that really did freak me out, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Not that it made me scared, but just kind of thinking about it and really zoning in on the frame with him in there, in whatever scene it was. That part just it was creepy. So like in the initial part of the videotape that they're watching after they see all the images of like what looks to be an insane asylum, right?
The first segment?
Yeah.
So,
Y-
so the first segment is a train station, I want to say. Originally, Damien Leone wanted it on a bus, but they ended up doing a train station. That first segment is the one I texted you, actually, the ninth circle, I think. I had no idea originally.
oh, no, it wasn't that part. It was just like a tiny part prior to that. They just show
Oh,
all yeah, and then they just show Art the Clown how he looks today pretty much just poking out of a room and then it goes into the station segment.
I forgot about that segment. Yeah, that is, it looks like an abandoned insane asylum. My assumption watching it the second time was that it was maybe hell or that hell area that they find themselves in at the end of it. I wasn't too
Right.
sure how to interpret it, but because we're seeing glimpses of all these crazy creatures um, throughout that whole intro, some really interesting looking creatures too, where it's like, Damien, expand on that with your makeup, which he does. Terrifier 3 has some fucking shit in it that we'll get into.
Now who's jumping the gun? I don't wanna hear
I
shit
know.
from you anymore.
I know, I'm
Um
really excited, and it's the last one in the series. It's gonna take us the longest to get there, but Terrifier 1 and 2 are probably gonna give us a lot of juice, a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I'm excited. Um, but yeah, once they do get into the train station segment, that alone, that whole scene was just uncomfortable to watch because I had to commute a lot to school, to the college that I went to. I had even gone to a community college in the city at one point. So I had to take the metro, I had to take the CTA, and just the station in there reminded me of Millennium Station downtown.
Really?
Yeah, it brought me back to, just being there late at night, whether I was leaving school or just leaving a day behind where I was just downtown with a friend or so. I would just be sitting in the station. Mind you, the station was pretty packed. There were quite a few people in there. You had maybe an employee here and there. It wasn't dead quiet like this one was, but just thinking, wow, if I was there and, kind of thinking or being a little more aware of my surroundings because back then I wasn't, let's be real. And I saw a clown just sitting there in front of me. I don't know what the fuck I would have done. I probably just would have ran away and probably would have attacked me.
Mercedes, but that exact same train station, all you had to do is just imagine Batman riding in to save your life because in The Dark Knight, Batman is chasing the Joker through Millennium Station.
That's true. That's true.
For the listeners who don't know, if you haven't seen The Dark Knight, that like little underground area that Batman he shoots the glass when he's on his motorcycle and rides through and people are dodging him. That's Millennium Station in Chicago that she's talking about. If you want a good visual of the actual train station Mercedes is talking about in this scenario.
Good callback. Good way to mix those two or mesh those two worlds.
He's chasing a clown.
True.
Batman will protect you, even though I think Art would kill Batman. I think Art kills Batman.
Wow. Do you have no faith in Batman?
Not against Art, man. I mean, dude, the Joker wanted to get caught, and they caught him. You know, not Batman's not necessarily doing his best work in that situation. Spoilers for The Dark Knight. Rachel dies moments later. Art is kind of more evil than the Joker. The Joker laughs at the things that make us cry. Yes, he is the clown prince of crime. Yes, but Art is clown demon, I think.
So I thought it was cool because watching the scene, he's kind of, tormenting this girl who's waiting to board the train. He's just fucking with her, annoying her, and then finally once he gives her a flower that has like roaches or bugs in it, she freaks out. His whole demeanor changed. He was kind of being goofy, he was smiling.
He's looking kind of cute.
If that floats your boat, man, go for it. not not this art. This art, he reminded me of Ronald McDonald, his appearance in this segment.
I can see that. Yeah, except less like a pedophile.
True. And that's kind of what I was leading into, not the pedophile part, but um there he injects her with whatever to knock her ass out, and then once she's starting to succumb to whatever drug was injected in her, she looks back at him and he's waving to her in demon form essentially, and his eyes, they look like deadlights from Stephen King's Pennywise.
Yeah.
um yeah, so I did see a few interviews or just reviews on the movie where Damien Leone, he was kind of contrasting what Pennywise looked like. So since he's very colorful, he has Art the Clown being black and white. and, Pennywise has, like, that little ball button nose type of deal where he has, like, a rigid nose in here, so I kinda think that's where the eyes were pulled from.
I dig it. Uh, Gotta say, Art the Clown, better than both iterations of Pennywise. Throwing it out
Whoa,
there.
whoa.
Throwing it out there.
Wait,
Pennywise doesn't move the needle for me. I like the first Pennywise more than the new one, but they're not really moving the needle for me, not in the way Art is. Art is funny. He has bits. He is a fan of Santa, as we will talk about. Um, I like Art more than Pennywise.
let's chill on that. You can't disrespect Tim Curry because he was the original Pennywise, and
The
Bill
Pennywise didn't mean the original Pennywise.
shut up. You
Pennywise
can't
who?
you
Stephen King
can't
was coked out. That book doesn't need to be 47 hours long.
No, it doesn't, but, the simple fact that Tim Curry was the one that, played Pennywise, that just makes that clown iconic. That makes him a notch above, Art the Clown. Now I can't fucking talk already, but yeah, don't be disrespecting Tim Curry.
I don't disagree with him being iconic, and I wasn't trying to disrespect Tim Curry. Pennywise as a character, as a concept, doesn't really do much for me. He seems scarier in the book than he does in the movies, and I'm not trying to be one of those people like the book, the book. I just shit on the book earlier, but he does seem scarier in the book. The movies don't seem like they use him to his full potential. Is like a horror demon. They really lean into the clown thing pretty heavily. But yeah, he doesn't. I still gotta say, Art moves the needle for me more than either of the Pennywise. Art, I find legitimately scary. I was afraid to watch these Terrifier movies. Uh, about like 10 minutes into it, I was like, okay, yeah, not really doing much for me. I was very surprised how much I didn't like those Andy Muschietti It movies.
How old were you when you watched the original It movie?
Oh man, I didn't watch that until I was in high school, maybe.
So I watched it as a little kid, so it terrified the fuck out of me, and it's funny because the jokes that Tim Curry does say in there, for its time, those were probably knee slappers. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but everyone probably loved them. So, but I will give you credit because you at least read the book or audiobook,
Oh
whatever.
no, I didn't. No, I had somebody who read it tell me everything
Oh,
that happened in it. They gave it
oh,
to me too for free on Audible, and I was just like, I'm not. I was like, there are books that I have way more interest in. I could read 4 books that I really want in the time of this it thing, and I invested too much time into it by watching those movies too. I don't need to read the book. My buddy explained it to me over a summer we were working together while he was reading it.
okay. Never mind then. But uh back to this. What are your thoughts on Art the Clown?
In this movie specifically,
Yes.
he does seem very different from segment 1 to segment 3. You could tell there was maybe a budget increase or they figured it out more for the Terrifier short film cuz that's originally what the third segment was if I haven't said already. That was the 20-minute Terrifier short film that Damien Leone has on his credit list on Letterboxd and IMDb. But
Mhm.
I like him very much in the third segment. He's not really in the first segment too much. I had texted you halfway through watching this saying, "Damn, I didn't know Art wasn't really in this. I'm watching this." I didn't say this, but I was thinking, I'm watching this alien shit happen. What
Oh
is
my
this? We can get into that. Art the Clown in the third segment really works. It is the foundations of a really strong horror icon. I dig it. He didn't him driving I found kind of funny. I found it very Michael Myers. This feels like the foundation of a of a horror icon. I really dig everything he's doing in that second segment. It's gross, it's nasty. He's hacksawing somebody's head off at certain points. It's scary. I will say that third segment, you're with this girl in almost real time and you could cut some fat. I think Damien Leone probably became better at editing or maybe got a better editor. I'm sure they figured it out. It probably tells a better, more smooth narrative, all of the Terrifier stories going forward. But he works for me. It felt really cool to watch this, and I'm excited to see where he goes, of course. But I genuinely found him scary at times. I was filled with tension at certain points, and the very end of the movie too. I don't know if that made your like pulse pound at all, but I started to feel pretty tense with him in the reflection.
Once they got to the 3rd segment, that's the part that I like the most, but that's where I was getting a little on edge because, this girl, she's low on well, no, she is not low on gas. She is on E driving. I don't know how people do that, but,
Yeah,
she
I hit a quarter tank and I'm at a gas station.
yeah, that's the lowest I'll do. I know sometimes I might go a little lower, but it's like I will not drive on fucking E. You're gonna jack up your car.
Mhm.
Oh my
I
god.
got
But
gas
anyway,
today at 22% when I got gas. That's the lowest I really go.
be responsible, people.
Yeah, you never know when an Art the Clown is gonna go after you. You gotta
Exactly.
anticipate the worst.
Exactly. And one detail that really set me off in this part was and it's just stupid. She goes over that little cord thingy to call for the gas attendant to come and pump her gas. I would never fucking do that if we still have the option to. I would never fucking do that because of the simple fact I don't want to talk to someone that I don't have to. I will always pay at the pump, and if I can't, there's like 5% of my brain telling me just go to a different gas station because you don't want to go inside to talk to the gas attendant. So, um,
I would have someone pump the gas for me if it were cold outside.
you would do that? You would be this bitch?
If it were cold outside, yeah, I would be like, "Hey, pump, commoner, pump."
What if it was a female?
Yeah, does she know who I am? I have a podcast, so yeah, I can't
Okay.
risk getting a sore throat, a scratchy throat, going out in that weather.
Okay, sorry. Let me take that back. Sorry. Sorry, your highness. Um But no, I just thought that was a funny detail that came to mind. She sees the gas attendant or station attendant come out, but he has Art the Clown, yes, looking noticeably different. And Art, you know, used the bathroom and created artwork in the bathroom.
Mhm.
And they both just look at the girl who's just staring at them, and then Art just kinda walks away. That was so fucking creepy, and then, yeah, the scene where he's in the car with her, he's trying to choke her, her dumbass I probably went out of order. She, saw that, parked car with, their blinkers on. Why would you stop to go beg them for help? Your dumbass has a full tank of gas. Keep fucking driving. There is absolutely no reason to stop, sorry.
So that happens right after she sees the gas station attendant getting his head sawed off.
Right, right.
And that's what happens. She gets in her car, dips, and then finds this other car on the side of the road. No, she drives past Art with a sign that says circus, I think.
Right, yeah, mhm.
And then she finds this car with its hazards on. And honestly, her behavior in that situation is ridiculous. She approaches the car, opens it, and this person's like, they look like they've been in an accident. This person looks like they're worse off than you are right now, and you're like, I
Mhm.
need help, help me.
Mhm.
And she like tries to wake them up, and they're all fucked up. What did you think of that?
I'm not gonna lie, I had to turn my head at that part because I knew something was gonna be wrong with the face, obviously, and
Did you get any kind of a look at it?
I did, and I'm thoroughly
Okay.
disturbed. But, yeah, her that's what I'm saying, her dumbass and, thank you for saying blinkers or hazards, not blinkers. Her dumbass
Same
sees this
thing.
car. What Yeah, but you're trying to sound grammatically correct all the time, and I just sound like an average schmo here, so I need to correct myself too. But, yeah, her just seeing the car her just seeing the car like that, it's like, okay, they are in no position to help you, even if they weren't in this car crash or predicament that they were in. But your dumbass still goes up there, is like begging for them to help. You open the car door when you see them with their head just her head is on the fucking steering wheel. Okay, do you think she's just resting? Like, what the hell? So, oh
She
god.
just had to take a nap right there. Maybe
Yeah,
she
she's
was just
waiting.
really fucked up or something. She was really drunk, had to pull over, just get a little break from driving.
Oh god. I don't know. That was such a stupid part on her
She
end.
had no hands, no hands. Her eyes were all she was so fucked up. I was like, and she's alive. That always upsets me when people are extremely just fucked up and in peril and are still alive, which is basically where our main character finds herself by the end of this movie.
Yeah, I've noticed that Damien really likes to go that route. So it's gonna be a fun ride. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. That last shot of that girl from the final segment, at first it really upset me, and I was watching this one, with my girlfriend, and she was like, "I can't believe they showed the vagina, it of that girl," and watching it the second time, actually, it looked like that whole body was just one big prosthetic, if that's what you would call it, and it looked
Mhm.
like her head was coming in through the table. Did
Right.
did you catch that?
I did because when they're zoomed in on her face and she's looking at all of her body parts, well her body and seeing like all the words carved into her body, that you could see, okay, it's fake. But then once they zoom out and have like the crane shot of her whole body, yeah, you could tell it was so fake. And her eye movement just looked stupidly robotic.
Mhm.
So that kind of killed what the element of surprise there for me.
Yeah, that was the thing that made Terrifier 3 easier to watch is I was able to notice the prosthetics in a lot of cases, so it made it way less intense for me, and,
Hmm.
yeah, I appreciated it for that. I was like, "Okay, this isn't." It didn't feel like watching the Evil Dead remake with the violence of Terrifier, because that would have been too much to handle.
Hmm.
They're done a bit differently. I can't explain how, but there's a look, a visual difference in both of those movies. But the 2013 Evil Dead, the violence isn't to the degree of Terrifier, but it feels so upsetting and nasty. Have you seen the 2013 Evil Dead remake?
That's the one with oh crap, I can't remember her name. It's the female drug addict, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I actually really like that one. I love
me
that
too.
movie actually.
That's one of my favorite horror movies. I have it on my all-time favorite movies list. It's
Hell yeah.
so good. I saw it in theaters and it was one of the most effective theater horror experiences for me. I was so tense, just like, "Oh my god, how I don't know if I can handle more of this." Not many horror movies have done that.
Yeah, I agree on that with the Evil Dead remake. I didn't get to see it in theaters, but when I finally did watch it, I was just like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" And I need to watch it again. So
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy that film. But yeah, kind of going off of what you said, you can definitely notice the prosthetics in these films, not just this one, obviously, going forward. And I think that is what made me a little more comfortable watching these films because, like I've said before, I don't like super gory films or anything of the sort. Watching these, you could see how fake it is, and then since I watched a lot of interviews of the actors and, behind the scenes type of deal, it just kinda prepared me for that, whereas this, there wasn't too much that I could find. I know you found a lot of, information on it, but, I knew it was going to be just like a student film pretty much, but just some of the designs of the other fucking characters. Like, what was that thing in the basement or hell? It was like a burned blob of something.
The one that was, like, salivating and,
Yeah.
chops up the one girl. Yeah, let's get into these segments. So that's the ninth circle, and we don't have to spend a crazy amount of time on them if you don't want to, but, eh, this movie The I'll break it down real quick. This girl is in a train station. She ends up getting drugged, injected with a needle from Art the Clown. Ends up in this basement or like area, some like weird dark tunnel with these two girls that are also chained up. They talk about how like so another girl got dragged away and they plan to try to escape. And then all hell breaks loose with these weird demons and all these different creatures. And so you're talking about the big meaty one that was salivating?
Yeah, when I saw that, I was eating and I
Mhm.
instantly, like, even when I was putting it on, I was thinking I should not be eating when I'm watching this because I know something is gonna just fuck up my taste or my appetite.
Dude,
And
I had the same exact thought. I had dinner and ate it before. I made sure I ate it before.
you took the smart route, I didn't, and, I was thinking I can stomach this. I've seen the other films. This one, it can't be that gruesome if I can handle the other ones. Nope, I was wrong. I was dead wrong on that.
Did it completely kill your appetite? This is about, I'd say, 20 minutes into the movie. Maybe when
It
this guy shows up, maybe 30. Alien segment, I paused it at one point and it was near 45 minutes in. So it could be like
it
30 minutes.
Yeah, it was around there. It didn't completely throw it off. I just once I saw that character, I just had to turn away because I was not about to waste my food. But, it was not a great watch at the time while I was eating. So guys, if you haven't seen this film, please eat something before watching it. That way you don't make the same mistake I did. Be like Nick in this case.
That's a valuable PSA. I was debating on eating while watching the movie just because of time constraints. It was very late when I was putting it on, and I didn't actually get to finish it in one sitting. And since then, I've watched it twice, and I think I'd be able to eat during it without an issue. But that is a very good PSA, and heed that warning with all of the Terrifier movies going forward.
So going back after you watch all three segments of the film, you're back to the babysitter. She had already sent the kids to bed. The daughter, Tia, I think she thinks there's someone in her closet, so she goes to sleep with her brother in his room. And um, when the babysitter comes upstairs to check on them, she's like, "I told you guys to go to sleep. Stop walking around the house or whatever." And the boy Timmy is saying, "We would be sleeping if you would stop coming in to check on us a lot." I forgot what happens from there to where she comes back. Oh, no, no, no. She goes back downstairs and doesn't the tape turn on or she turns on the tape again and then that's when she sees Art the Clown just staring at her?
When she goes to check on him and comes back down, then she starts the Terrifier segment.
Got
What
it,
what
okay.
happen so what happens after Terrifier is she, like, turns it off in a panic because she sees the gross prosthetics in that girl, and she was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they would show the vagina," and then, yeah, she had the thought, "Oh, wait, those are prosthetics." No, but she gets a phone call and it's the girl from the segment calling
Mhm.
her. And was that her actual friend who she talked to? I don't know. Did we hear her friend's voice? I couldn't piece it together. If that friend, the fashion designer, I think she was. I read that on the Wikipedia plot summary that the girl was a fashion designer in the third segment. But
Yeah, she was,
I I don't know if that was her actual friend or if she just thought that that was her friend calling her back in that panic.
I don't know actually. That's a good
But
point to make.
it's interesting to have to play with time like that because it's like so you just watched all of this happen and then you get a phone call and so you could only assume is this happening right now or am I just hearing a recording of the tape that I just watched?
Right. Yeah, that part really freaked me out.
I would like to believe that there's some weird timey-wimey shit that Art the Clown has going on. Timey-wimey for all the Doctor Who fans out there.
Yeah, he seems to have some type of supernatural shit going on with him. He got like the deadlights thing going on. He seems like he can be in two places at once or at least teleport to another spot very quickly. So, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, she ends up seeing Art the Clown. All of a sudden he is looking at her at the screen or through the screen, and then he walks up to the screen and is essentially like, banging on the television screen as if it was a window while he's staring up at her. And
And he's in
then,
a basement that feels like it was a basement for just budget reasons. They were like, "What do we have? A basement? Shoot it there."
yeah,
Who
probably.
whose basement? You can use my basement. All right, cool.
Probably, yeah. And then she's in like, I don't know how to describe it, but she's in this weird she sees him on or she sees herself in the TV screen on the film, but she sees Art the Clown sitting behind her. And then when she turns around, he's not there, but she sees him slowly approaching her in the film.
It's as if there's a live camera feed where Art the
Yeah.
Clown is there, but in reality, he's not actually there. What would you do in that situation? Because I was thinking maybe I would walk up to him, like where he's supposed to be standing, and just like touch in that area. I don't know. Would that be a dumb move? Would that get me killed?
I mean, I would run away
That does
because
seem like a good move too. Just leave the house. Fuck the kids.
exactly.
They're good. They
That was
got this.
exactly what I was saying when I was watching this. At that point, just fucking leave, fuck these
Yeah.
kids. They're upstairs sleeping.
They want to act grown. They want to watch that movie. Fine. Deal with Art the Clown. You want to be
Exactly.
grown ups. Now you have Art the Clown. Look what you did.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
out of here. I'm not getting paid enough to die for you
This is why I can't be babysitting kids like that.
because of Art
Because
the Clown. The fear of Art the Clown.
yes, I always had a fear of someone breaking into the house when I was little, courtesy of Scream.
Oh,
But
you don't have to worry about that. The kids don't need to be around for that to happen.
you didn't have to get logical with that. The girl, she is able to eject the tape and then she destroys it and all of a sudden Art's not behind her anymore. But then doesn't she hear something or a scream from upstairs, and then that's when she sees Art up there and he's all bloody and just laughing.
Yeah, the girl lets out a scream, I think, and the babysitter's like, "Oh my god, where that's what." I would be like, "It's my signal to leave. That scream means I go."
I'm out. Nope.
Yeah, thanks for the warning, kid.
Right. Yeah, she goes up there, she sees Art, he's laughing, and then where does he go? Because it gives her the opportunity to go into the kids' room, and then she sees both of their decapitated heads on the bed.
I'm not gonna lie, I started laughing when I saw the heads.
Oh, I did too.
It, like, just came out. I was like,
It
"Am I a
was so
bad
fucking
person?"
weird. No, I laughed too. They
Yeah,
deserved
they're
it.
just sitting there.
Exactly, and they look so bad. You know, though I know it was a low budget film, but they looked so fucking bad.
It was comical. I
It
I
was.
got a kick out of it. That concept and idea is better realized in Terrifier 3.
Yeah, yeah, true. Let's stop jumping the gun because you always give me shit for jumping the gun, and now you've done it.
Yeah, I know, I am kind of, throwing loose details about yeah, my bad.
You know what that makes you? A hippo.
Oh, damn. Is that a comment on my weight?
No, it's short for hypocrite.
Wow. Mercedes is fat shaming me for all of the listeners,
Shut up. You probably
and she
weigh
called me a
less than what
hypocrite.
you probably weigh less than what I weigh. So shut up.
Man, wow. I mean, I'm not gonna go weigh myself to be embarrassed on this podcast, so I don't wanna test that, but thanks for calling it out. I'm gonna not eat Reese's anymore.
No, don't do that because I will probably buy you Reese's in the future. Um, that is also courtesy of my husband because that is a joke that he told me way back when. And
What, do you call me fat?
no, he called me a hippo one time,
Oh,
and
I
I
was
was
about to
like,
say, I
"Wait,
haven't even
what?"
met him, and he's calling me
No,
fat.
no, we were talking. I was being goofy, and then he called me a hippo. I was like, "Wait, what? Do you really think I'm fat?" And he's like, "No, you're a hypocrite." I'm like, "Whoa, okay." So, yeah,
So you had the same reaction I did, yet you still said it to me.
because you keep giving me shit. Well, you kept giving me shit during the Chucky franchise when I wanted to keep talking ahead, and you've been referencing part three, part two, and this.
Well, I haven't
Man,
seen part 2. How can I be referencing it?
oh yeah, true. Well, you've been referencing part 3 and yeah, so
Hoisted by my own petard. I think that's the right.
wait, what does that mean?
I
I've
don't know. I
never heard that phrase.
might have misused it. I don't know. Let's not look further into that.
Okay.
um
Um, let's talk about the fucking second segment of this movie.
mhm.
What the hell was with the alien? Like, I going into that scene, it seemed creepy, like, okay, she's in a new home. Art the Clown is probably gonna pop up and terrorize her. But then once what her power goes out or whatever, and then she's looking around and she's starting to see like what backpack or gadgets or whatever. And my initial thought was, oh, it's an alien, cool. But then when they showed the face, I was thinking, "Oh my god, it actually is an alien. Why
Yeah.
why is this in here? What
I
where
was like,
how
where's
did we come
art?
here?" Exactly, like, where did we go wrong here? What is happening?
And it's so long. It goes on for a very long time. I was like, "Oh man, this is never ending." And much like the third segment, we're in this segment in real time with this girl as she's like going throughout her new house, making a phone call to her boyfriend or whatever, chasing this alien. Nothing really happens. So, this segment was actually the one that the producer gave him money to go back and add to the movie. And to that, I say, you do realize this movie is 90 minutes and minimum movie is 70. You could have cut 20 minutes out of this thing. You didn't need to be a 90-minute movie. And I'm saying that as a joke. I really, again, have a big respect for Damien Leone. Not enough to get his name right 100% of the time, but enough to try. But
At least you try.
yeah. Don't always succeed, but I tried. The effort's there. It's here in the recording. It just felt like there was a lot of fat in that segment, and we really didn't need a lot. It was showcasing for the alien technology. Art the Clown does show up at the very end, but it did just catch me off guard having this alien in there. I uh I had this theory though, because this alien is in like a scuba suit looking thing. It felt like they
Mhm.
took a scuba suit and just retroactively made it into an alien look, and he's moving around almost like a someone who's swimming or doing some type of like underwater movements. And I just
Right.
had this like weird like backstory I started creating for the alien where I thought, okay, on Earth the oxygen to this alien must be like water, and it has to wear this full body suit because it looks like it's wearing a suit. But I just basically came up with a weird backstory that this was an alien and it had to basically scuba dive on our planet because air was like water to it.
That gave it more life than what it had in this segment of the film, so I'd buy into that.
Not gonna lie, when I was watching this movie a second time, I kind of fast forwarded throughout most of that segment and walked away a couple
Same,
times.
same.
The,
No, apologies to anyone that does like that segment. I'm a firm believer in aliens, and I like certain alien films. I haven't seen all of them, but I do like some of them. But that was not for this film. This was supposed to be about Art the Clown, in my opinion.
I thought that the actress, her performance wasn't too bad. She wasn't really asked to do much, but she seemed like she came to play, so that was cool. Not too crazy about the alien design, but whatever got Damien Leone his Terrifier budget, whatever he had to do to get there, I'm in full support, even if it means watching 3 hours of this weird scuba alien.
I mean, it was cool to see them try to tie in Art the Clown with that segment where she was saying her boyfriend or husband painted something, and I'm thinking, okay, he painted art. Haha, pun intended. But
That was
you don't.
good. I like that.
Thank you. She doesn't see it, or you don't see it until the end, and I'm thinking, okay, well, again, what does this have to do with the other films? Is art just starting to take over all these um people's lives? Are they going to all be I don't know. It wasn't tied in very well with, I mean, none of them are related, but it it was just so out of place. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I did want to ask that. So, what are the implications of that? This husband paints art and has some weird connect. He paints art. Wow, I really see what you did there now. I fell right into it. he
It's because I keep saying Art the Clown, and I was thinking I don't have to keep saying the entire Art the Clown. I could just say Art, and then I just happen to say it at that time.
Yeah, it came across the a really weird circumstance.
Yeah.
Um, so he literally paints Art the Clown, and that makes me think: is her husband like possessed with by art? And did he somehow set this up? But how did they get the alien there?
Mhm.
Because the alien, they show something crash land. Does is Art celestial?
I mean, he could be. He got these deadlights going on. He has all these supernatural features. He could be a killer clown from outer space.
Oh man. Mercedes, I think you're onto something here. I think that's the the best connection that got made in this whole thing.
It just came to
Pennywise
me.
is Pennywise from space too? That was his deal. I barely remember.
I don't know. I don't think so, but I could be
He was.
wrong.
I don't remember anymore. Oh my god, I'm just
He
really.
was from the sewer. That's where he was from.
From space to the sewer. It's very poetic.
Mhm.
Um, poor Georgie. Yeah. So what do you make of? Was that react? You had a reaction. as I was saying all of that. Was that too the husband maybe having some connection with Art the Clown?
Yes, because it kind of ties into Terrifier 2, just that little correlation there. So I don't want
Mhm.
to give away anything, but yeah, I
I think
just
I know what you're talking about. I think
okay.
that's a plot thread they carry over into the follow-up.
Yeah, yeah. So that was just my reaction towards it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good catch too. I didn't think about that, and I did have that prior knowledge as well. So that's a good two great connections right there.
I am on a roll today. Let's
I know.
go.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I wonder if you've cracked what Terrifier 4 is going to be.
Oh my god, imagine. I would be so fucking tripped out about that because, someone already beat us to the damn punch of Slaughterball.
Oh
I
yeah.
I forgot that whole fucking article. I saw which Wayne's brother was it?
Is it Marlon who does the fucking scary movies and who's coming to do this? Is that
I
who it
think
was?
so. So it was him and some other one. They were gonna make they're in the works of making a horror comedy or a horror sports movie, and I had sent that to Nick over the phone, and I was just like, "Damn, someone beat us to it." So I'm very mad about that, guys. We failed you. We thought Slaughterball could be a thing, but apparently it's not.
It can still happen. We'll just piggyback off of this. This just means there's a market for what we're doing now. They're creating it. We may not be the first, but we will capitalize on this. There is money to be made, and we will leave no dime on the table with Slaughterball.
You right.
We're greedy money pigs.
Yeah.
It is also it's Marlon Wayans and Sean Wayans who are
Oh, okay,
involved
okay.
in it. Yeah,
Okay,
so I think I was half right.
You had it better than I did, or yeah.
It it is a shame though that they seemingly listened to the podcast and fully lifted an idea from us. But
I
we
know.
know they are now out there listening. One of those three is out there listening, stealing
We
our
are
ideas.
we are building a following here. Let us
Can we take
fucking
this to
go.
court?
Did we get it patented or patented, whatever that word is? Trademarked?
We have a record of a time and date of us talking about this.
True, true. We probably could. We
Should
have a
we
case here.
should we pursue legal action? Listeners, should we pursue legal action? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Rate us 5 stars. Comment on our Instagram. What do you guys think about that upcoming film? And are you really going to be there opening night when this film comes out? I don't. It doesn't have a name yet, but
Yeah,
are you
guys,
really going to go?
I don't want to tell people not to see a movie because the film industry is dying right now, but are you really going to see this movie? How about you just listen to another episode of Morbid Curiosities instead?
Yeah, are you guys up to date on all of our episodes? It seems like forever ago since we started Chucky. So, um yeah, go listen to all of them if you haven't yet.
Yeah, some of our episodes have more downloads than others, so some of you got some catching up to do.
Let's
Go
go.
go pop on Bride of Chucky for us. How about that? Go give that episode a listen. Give that one a little help.
Yeah, that one was a fun one. Why are you guys leaving us hanging?
Yeah, it was. Why are you doing us dirty? You know, like Jennifer Tilly or something? You guys are sexist?
I mean, they must love her in the other films, but yeah, this was where she was like the main star of the film. Wow, you guys are bogus. You don't like Jennifer Tilly. It's okay. I partially don't like her.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah, but I don't like anybody. So,
Let's get her on the pod to talk about it.
oh my god, if she was on the pod, you know how many people would fucking tune in on that episode?
Should we face all the people we criticize at one point? That'll be our 10-year anniversary.
Dude, imagine. That would be a good conversation to have.
It's me talking to a bunch of directors and you talking to a bunch of women.
I talk shit about men too. It's not just women. Don't make me sexist here. I did make a point to say that in one of our episodes. I don't remember which one, but I did say I hate everybody. And I even said it on this one. So it's not just towards women. I hate everybody.
Mm. Don't have a real opportunity to prove your point in this movie. It's like all women.
Art Art the clown isn't a woman. That dumbass little kid Timmy isn't a woman.
I mean, Art the Clown might be the person you've spoken the most positively about in this whole episode.
So I talked shit about Timmy.
Which one is Timmy? Oh, the little boy. Eh,
Yeah, he needed to go fucking play in traffic, the little shit.
yeah, good point. He did suck. So half of the men in this movie suck. How many women do you think suck in this movie? List them off.
Ooh. Let's go. How many? The babysitter. Well, no, let me not start with her. Um,
Yeah,
so
she had a
I
job. She was just trying to make an income.
she was potentially putting on porn for the kids that she was babysitting.
Very irresponsible. Bad babysitter. She looked like she was seconds away from lighting up a cigarette in front of those kids.
I mean, she probably was. She was over there drinking wine and everything. So the women that suck in here are the two damsels that are locked in the basement or hell, wherever the fuck they're at. They suck. I didn't like the girl in the second segment. She just didn't cut it for me. The girl in the first segment, I don't know. I thought her performance was a little on the weaker side. But I did like the girl from the end, even though she had some weird ass or she made some weird ass choices. But I did like her. And the babysitter, aside from her trying to subject kids to porn, I didn't mind her.
the I grew to enjoy the babysitter after a while. I didn't like her at first. I was like, "Oh my god, these are the people that we're stuck with." And then I remembered
Mhm.
this was just the framing device for the movie and we weren't going to be with these characters for the whole thing. Thank God. We ditched those kids pretty early too. They must have had like an early bedtime, didn't need to couldn't shoot much that day. Um you got any final thoughts? I would like to touch on this franchise's treatment of women as we go throughout this series because people that is a complaint that people have launched at this. They have said that it's problematic in the way that it seems to really mostly brutalize women. And I'd be curious to get your opinion on all of that and how like if that has any effect on you at all or is really a concern as we're watching these.
Not really, because they kind of this is me trying to not offend women or talk shit or whatever, but they that's kind of a theme in all horror films. They do target women more so, especially if it's a male predator, because sometimes they can overpower them. Not all the time, but sometimes. I did hear that concern that people had on the treatment of women in this franchise, but there's a part where there's some equal opportunity in here. So, we'll get there. We'll talk about that too.
Mhm. I'm looking forward to it. Do you have any final thoughts on All Hallows Eve? We were able to get an episode out of this one. I was worried.
Yeah, the movie, it's a pass. I don't want to revisit it, but I'm excited to jump into Terrifier.
I echo that. I think Terrifier is going to be a pretty fun experience. I think I am going to throw it on right when we're done recording here.
Yeah, guys, let us know on our Instagram which Terrifier movie is your favorite or which one are you looking forward to hearing us talk about the most.
Yeah, and let us know what you think about the clown debate we had. Are there any other clowns that should be up for consideration? Should we host some type of clown bracket at some point for our listeners to decide who is the ultimate clown?
We've been Morbid Curiosities.